Hello, classic rock fans. I am reporting live after the first night of the North American leg of the Genesis The Last Domino tour, which kicked off at the United Center in Chicago. This is the first concert I've seen in Chicago in like 7 years. I used to go to Chicago for concerts quite regularly, but it has been a while since I've been doing that. And now it honestly takes something super special to get me to go down there for it. And that was absolutely what tonight was. Genesis is an incredible band. They have been off the road completely since what was believed to be their farewell tour in 2007. They put the band back together. They were supposed to go out on the road in 2020, but of course, COVID-19 made them put their plans on hold. This tour is driven, I think, by two things. One is that Phil very clearly wants to play at least one tour with his son Nick on drums. And I think the second reason that they took this show on the road is it's meant to be a farewell to the fans. And that was absolutely the vibe of the show tonight. There was a finality to it. There was definitely the feeling of appreciation from the band to the fans, but especially the fans to the band. Big standing ovation from the Chicago crowd as Genesis came out on stage. Huge rounds of applause. I mean, when they did band introductions and Mike Rutherford introduced Phil Collins, the crowd clapped for like a solid minute. It was a real warm, receptive crowd that really got into the show, and Genesis delivered a hell of a good show. Very strong set list, lots of hits, but also lots of fan favorites and deep cuts. I think some of the highlights of the night were songs like No Son of Mine and Mama. Not necessarily the biggest hits, but the ones that fans know. Great production for the show. The light show is fantastic. The video on the big screen behind the band was very cool. Particularly during the song Throwing It All Away, there was a lot of archival footage, a lot of retro clips of the band when they were young, moments from classic music videos. That's what I'm talking about when I say the show had a farewell sort of vibe. That song was very much a walk down memory lane, and the crowd really got into it. Personally, my favorite Genesis songs are the big pop radio hits, I Can't Dance, Invisible Touch. Those, of course, were lots of fun. There's a lot of people dancing in the crowds to that. So, again, the band played very well, and the crowd was really into this show. I think everybody knows this is their last time around, and they wanted to get the most out of it, and Genesis delivered everything they had, and it was awesome. The band didn't miss a note. The sound was great. Big credit to Nick, Phil's son, on the drums. Very powerful drums. He absolutely lived up to the expectations that Phil would have set. And even though Phil was physically held back, he had to sit through the whole show. Obviously, there wasn't any dancing, and he didn't play drums. His voice was great. He sounded really good, and he sang clearly. He sounded like himself. And when he was playing those big radio hits, it was so easy to sing along. They did a somewhat acoustic set in the middle of the show, which included songs like Follow You, Follow Me, and That's All. And that was one of the nicest parts of the show, just because it really brought Phil's voice to the forefront. And like I said, despite all of the physical issues he's had recently, his voice is as good as ever. So ultimately, this was a fantastic show. It was very special for me. I had never seen Genesis before. I've always wanted to. I love their music, and getting a chance to see them when I thought for years they were done. I didn't think they were ever going to get back on stage together. It was so cool to see them do this, even in the midst of the pandemic that's still ongoing. Speaking of the pandemic and precautions regarding it, the United Center has a mandatory vaccine policy and also you have to wear a mask through the whole show. Now, the vaccine policy I'm on board with, wearing a mask through the whole show, I wasn't expecting that, but I was okay with it. And I would say that once you got into the United Center, most everybody wore their mask. I didn't see anyone throw a fit or anything. And once people were in their seats, yeah, some people were definitely taking their masks off, but I wouldn't say more than half. I'd say most of the people kept their masks at least partially on for most of the show. And, you know, it's not perfect, but it's kind of the best you can hope for. And as far as checking vaccine cards, the United Center security team definitely did that. So they are taking those precautions seriously. And I do appreciate that because the United Center is a big indoor venue. And that makes things a little different as compared to the bigger outdoor venues that I've seen concerts at this past summer. So I appreciate them taking it seriously. And when you got a cool mask like this, wearing it around isn't so bad. So if Genesis comes to your town, I'm telling you, this is a no-brainer. If you like their music, this is an absolute must-see. You're going to pay through the nose to see them. It's going to be very expensive, but without a doubt, this is the last time. It is amazing to me that given all of the physical issues that Phil has faced in the last 10, 15 years, that he is willing to go through this, given how many bands who are taking serious precautions for COVID are still catching it. You know, he's putting himself out there. I hope he doesn't get sick. You know, I assume he's vaccinated. I assume he's taking precautions, but he doesn't have to do this. So if they're coming to your town and you're a fan of the band, you've never seen them before, do what you can to go see them because you're in for a really good show. And let's be real, that's going to be it. This is going to be the last time they come around. They've basically said as much, and I can't imagine them wanting to push their luck much further. So I guess I'll just leave it at that. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel. Check us out on Facebook and Twitter as well. Links in the description below. And if you're a fan of classic rock and you didn't know, I host a podcast about classic rock. So you can check that out as well. Link, of course, in the description. So with that, see Genesis if you can, and keep rocking.